Connection incoming. Connected.
Welcome back to the Rogue and Blasted podcast. Bit of an impromptu episode today because obviously the 11th edition preview just dropped. So we thought we'd get Connor and Matt's initial opinions on some quite exciting potential changes. So as always, we've got Matt and Connor here. So Matt, do you want to sort of tell us who you are briefly?
Hello, I'm Matt, commission painter and mediocre dice roller. Hello.
Perfect. And Connor?
I'm Connor. I am a towel player. I am a great dice roller, but mediocre painter.
Allegedly.
And humble as well.
Oh,
Yes.
100%. He's so
Very
humble.
Very humble.
So humble it
yeah.
hurts.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm like a...
So yeah, obviously this came out, was it? Yeah, literally earlier on today.
2 o'clock this morning, because even though this is a British company, they want to screw me over and do American times.
Well, you didn't miss much because I came off playing TTS quite late and I thought, oh, the reveal show is about to start, and it was plagued with mics that didn't work.
Really?
There was no feed. It was just an absolute disaster.
Jesus.
And I gave up, went to bed.
Yeah, that's not a great start for it. But Connor, I think you said you sort of had a difficult morning taking it all in.
I had to watch it all, and then I had to watch videos of it. Then I had to scour the articles, and then I had to call out loads of people in my group chat for chatting a load of shit. It's one of those, right? The main thing I'm going to say to everyone listening is not to worry yet. We don't have the full picture. Saying that,
Okay.
the models are very nice to release. We can all appreciate the massive portaloo that is the Sisters of Battle. It looks like a massive porta potty. It does, but apart from that, it looks really good. They brought back the old school intercessors. It's like the new Primaris scale with old school. It looks very nice. I'm sure Matt will be very fun to paint them.
It's
Nice.
just like the Blood Cause box that was released before.
Yeah, that's what they did. I'm not so sure on the Orc Boy, personally. I preferred the old style of orcs. I'm not a massive fan on
They've
the
gone
new
a
Orc
bit
Boy.
cartoony.
I prefer the old style with like the porky helmets and shit. I quite like that.
You reckon?
I don't know. It's not a bad model. I'm not saying. And then some of the new stuff looks really good. That they've the guard once again got loads of stuff.
Yes.
So there we go.
Your favourite faction?
Yes.
It looks all right. I didn't think they'd get this much again.
Yeah. So I'm thinking for this, shall I run through the sort of main changes one by one that we've sort of come across, get your guys' thoughts, and probably have Connor shouting at me for misunderstanding bits? Does that sound good?
There's one where
That
I will
sounds
get a
perfect.
bit angry.
Nice.
The rest are fine. Just a heads up.
Okay.
You're always angry.
As a Tau player, you might understand which one it will be, but we'll get there.
I think I might know. So we'll save that one for last.
Yes.
So first one up, obviously this is probably one of the more difficult ones to see how it's going to work at the moment, but players being able to combine detachments and obviously launching with 70 new detachments on launch day, they said. Any thoughts?
So
I think
think
that
it's
sounds
awesome.
pretty cool.
we need to not get carried away with this because they put a caveat:
Yes, we do.
70 new or updated detachments.
I think
So-
it's both.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's both. I don't think they're all new. I think they've said that all the Codex ones are staying and not being changed. However, they've not said the Grotmus detachments. They've said the Codex
so-
detachments and the campaign supplement ones, like the Armageddon one, will be staying, which means all the
So
Grotmus
basically, if
ones
it's
might change.
Yeah, I think they will change.
so we're
So-
thinking basically, if it's written down in a book, it
It
lives.
should be pretty
If
solid.
it's that
I
makes
think
sense.
a lot of them will get
Um,
updated. A lot of them, I
Yeah,
think all
they'll
the
need to be,
demon
yeah.
stuff will get updated. I think stuff like that, in theory.
I think it'll be. I'm quite intrigued to see how they're going to work with their sort of combining different detachments.
so.
That's interesting. Okay.
I've looked into this
Yeah,
as
because
well.
that
So,
felt like a throwback to like allies
Yeah.
almost in my.
yes.
Yeah.
So what
Well,
they've
they're going to be that as well.
So what they've done is they've said you pick a major detachment and a minor detachment. So you will have 1,500 points of one detachment,
Mm.
and then you will have 500 points of one. As a Tau player, I'm looking forward to this. I can have 1,500 points of Montcar Tau, and then I can have
Yeah.
500 points of Kroot's auxiliaries in their own detachment, which means I now get access to
Yeah.
the buffs for them.
Their stratagems.
So
Okay,
the
that's
good thing
quite
for
cool.
Space
That's a
Marines
really
means
nice
you can
idea.
have a main army, and then you want bikes, you have 500 points of bikes. So you can play that niche without having to go a whole army of it, which is really good.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think this is brilliant. This is reminiscent of second edition, I think, or third edition.
I think it'll be balanced with it. I think it will be all right.
I think it's such a nice idea, so that you can add a knight to your army, but still get all those knightly benefits of their stratagems and stuff as well. I think it's looking really good. I'm really happy about this.
Nice.
I think
it sounds pretty positive.
I don't think it will apply to knights into a certain degree. I think the detachments will be still faction specific. Like, I couldn't bring in, like, as an Imperial player, I don't think you can play Space Wolves and then have a knight detachment in there. I don't think that's how it will work. I don't think that's how
because that just opened it up to so many shenanigans back in the day where you had, like, Tau and Eldar were pretty infamous for.
I think it'll be like, you can still bring a knight, but I think it'll be, let's say you want to play the, I don't really know many Space Wolf ones, to be off the top of my head, but I need to think of an example. I need to think of an example.
I got the Beast Slayer.
Yeah, so let's say you've got ones based on all your Wolfen, haven't you? And so you can have that as a minor detachment with the other one. The big one is Space. Let's say you want to go Gladius Task Force or something like that, but you want you can have 500 points of the speeder one in the, and that'll be under your bikes.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be able to chuck a knight detachment in with your Space Marines. If I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up, but I feel that leaves too much to balance.
I mean, that's the thing
I think you can still bring the knight. I think it will just be under the basic allied rules.
Okay.
So,
fingers crossed.
But this leads us on nicely, though, to the new stratagem stuff. They're saying...
So is that limited to one per unit per phase?
I'm not 100% sold on this. I'm not.
I quite like it because I feel like it stops maybe people just sort of chucking so much stuff into a unit and ramping it up, so it's kind of unstoppable.
No, I agree.
It just needs to be balanced out.
Yeah, I like the fact you shouldn't be able to stack. I get that. I like it. However, now if I have the two detachments with Lords of Stratagems, I can only use one in the shooting phase.
But wasn't it one per unit per phase? So you could still use it on two different units, or it might be too early to tell. Again, we're just going.
I'm not sure. I think they're restricting it to one stratagem per phase, and you only have to use one on per unit. So you can't. So it's basically stopping you from like re-rolling a charge and then tank shocking. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Being able to use only one stratagem per phase for a shooting army when I have no melee aspect is going to be crippling a little bit.
Tough.
Well, it is.
I made your bed, so
I did. I picked the shooting army. I have to deal with that. But I do like the fact you can't just say, "Oh, cool, you now have lance and reroll charges and +1 to hit." Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah, I like that.
I think it also just makes stuff matter more. Like, this is what we were saying with the rerolls in the last episode and stuff like that. Like, you have to really, really think through your choices. You can't just be like, "Oh, I've got a stratagem for that." I quite like the sound of that. I think.
Yeah, if you use the CP reroll, you have no stratagem. So that's the thing now.
Yeah.
You want to give yourself a 4-pin vuln? That's fine. You can't reroll one of those now.
Sounds like they listen to our.
Yes.
To be honest, there was a lot in that preview. I thought we spoke about all of this.
Yeah, literally the other day.
The line of sight stuff specifically as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I missed out that line of sight stuff. I just saw that they sort of said that it's going to be a bit clearer. Did they get any more details on it? Yeah,
they went very detailed into it. So, if you are in a ruin, instead of it being +1 to your save, it is -1 to hit. Like that. No issues. As a tile player with lots of ignores modifiers for shooting, I rub my hands at that. The
whole cover thing was useless because like you got an extra benefit to cover, but if you had a 3-up save, you didn't get it anyway.
Oh yeah, you had lots of things that could strip cover as well. You had lots of things that could strip cover. So now this is not even a cover save. This is -1 to the person shooting it, which is good.
Just makes a lot more sense.
A lot more sense.
Yeah. Like, because it would make it more difficult to shoot. But if you get hit by a bolter, it doesn't matter if you were standing in a building. Like,
now it's still a bolter shelter.
Now the big thing. The really big thing, if you are inside a ruin, they haven't specified what it is yet. I assume it won't apply to Titanic. I assume it won't. If you haven't shot
just
yet,
like, it better not.
I think it's for the whole game. As long as you haven't shot the whole game, I think it's shot the whole game. You are low mark 15 in a ruin.
Which is brilliant.
Which
it's going to stop people getting shot off the table turn one.
I agree. Yeah. Now, what they've accidentally done by doing this is I'm not sure if there's going to be special things to get around this. They have killed off all indirect fire.
Yeah, I did see that.
Now, as someone who has now got an entire army of smart missile systems of every tank I own that can't shoot anything, that doesn't make sense to me. And they might make it where indirect fire might be able to do it.
Or if they... Well, obviously, you have to wait and see, but maybe then that's like if you've got the marker lights and things, maybe if something's lit up by one of them, then it can be shot kind of stuff. Because that to me works. Because I get the low not thing is kind of basically like, can people even see him?
Pardon? Say that again, sorry, Matt.
What they're going to do with all their artillery, with all the guard stuff?
That's what I mean. You've got all the guard artillery. They're
going to have to bring in rules for it. It won't be indirect. It'll be something.
It's going to have to. All they just do indirect will ignore. The indirect rules at the moment are quite good. As long as they feel that the indirect cover will ignore the ruins lone operative ability. That's all they have to put in it. Still make it the -1 to hit. That's fine. Make it. They have a cover, so they have the cover save anyways. Or make it +1 to the save if you're shot by indirect fire. If you want to do it that way.
Yeah.
But you can't just eradicate that from the game. Like, it's not. I understand against Eldar and stuff. It's very good, but it's. Either that or you're going to have to make the indirect guns better to be used out of indirect.
Or you bring back templates and a scatter dice.
Yes.
Yeah, and just say, all right, I'm not shooting at that unit, I'm just shooting where your units are.
Yeah, that terrain piece.
Yeah, but then it works really well for big artillery guns, but it doesn't work well for like my SMS, the Desolation Marines, the Earthshaker guns it makes. They need to, and that's a new kit as well. That's a new kit, so they've got to be very careful now how they deal with this. Because
I wasn't sure about those, and I absolutely love them now.
See,
they're absolutely brilliant.
They're great,
They've got indirect at a really good point where it's not oppressive. It is a little bit harder if you are a T3 Eldar player. I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah,
but against the majority, against Space Marines, my smart missiles aren't really doing anything much. You might kill a couple of Marines, that sort of stuff. But it's nice to have. It stops Eldar being too good as well. It keeps them in check. It needs to be careful how they approach it with indirect. If they rewrite the whole indirect fire rule and they make it so it still works, then I'm happy with that. Obviously, when a unit does shoot, obviously then it can be shot. No matter. So I imagine in turn 1, if you shoot your intercessors and then put them behind a building next turn, I can still shoot them.
Yeah, the logic is you know where they are because they've shot you in the bum.
It does sound like just quite a good way of but also giving like a fog of war effect essentially is. I can see people very deliberately like trying to sneak people up the board, and you're not popping out and just shooting whenever because you're making that decision as well of which is more important, survivability or just I really like it. I think
it does have real benefits.
People to be more
it does have real benefits. Like for my army,
sketchy.
My spotters can now not fire the entire game and spot with impunity. I can put a stealth team in a building.
Yeah.
You can now not see me. I can spot you the entire game because I'm not shooting, and then I now don't get shot back. So there needs to be some interesting. There's going to be some interesting stuff about it. It's real bonus. I'm not going to lie. And you can still shoot them. Getting within 15 inches is very doable for most armies. I'm not saying it can't. It just means you just can't do long range shooting down the side of the board. Yep. They might just restrict it.
Creating like short range sort of firefights, which I quite like.
Yeah, they might just restrict it to models over 10 wounds or under 12 wounds. Get this, and units over 12 wounds.
Keyword.
Yeah, so I don't like the idea of a Rogel Dawn in a building not being able to see it. Like, it doesn't make sense. If it's infantry, then that's not an issue. Then the issue's fine.
I think it will be. I think
it's just hiding a Norn Queen behind a piece of scenery.
That's what I mean. It doesn't make sense. A Carnifex should be able to, though. A Carnifex should be. I've got nothing wrong with a Carnifex being able to do it.
Lore-wise, it shouldn't. They're like Screamer killers. They're supposed to be just charging, sprinting at the enemy, shouting as loud as they can. But
it's like saying a Hammerhead shouldn't, but a Crisis Suit should. That's the sort of weird stuff, isn't it? But we'll see. It's early days, early days. So let's not get too scared. Especially you Tau players out there. I know there's getting whispered up at the moment. I've seen it.
How are we feeling about the game and objectives being dictated by the type of armies that you two have brought to the table?
I love it.
I have no idea how on earth you make that work, but if you can, that's amazing.
It's funny because I was playing a game last night and I came away and the game was won on the back of it was some stealth suits doing sabotage, and it was like that secondary fits that unit and it worked. And I think it's so black and just like, here's secondaries for everybody. So you're taking, say, a voting army who wants to hunker down on an objective, and you're drawing extend battle lines and behind enemy lines and forcing you to come off where you perform best.
Yeah.
So I think if you're getting those missions that actually reward that, and like your World Eaters players are getting extra for going out and killing stuff, it makes sense narratively to your faction. And I think this is what this game needs.
It reminds me to 8th edition, they had the data packs for each faction had their own secondary deck. I don't think it'll go that far because it got busted, because certain factions had the best ones. My tower one was all shoot the fuckers, and it was fantastic. Right, I'm not gonna lie, it was all shoot him now, and it worked fantastically. But I think what it's going to be, it might not be the secondaries that are faction specific. It might be the primary mission rule that's faction specific. We might all, it's for the balance aspect. Cool. I think we might all have the same secondary block each, but I think the primary mission will be different for each player, which makes sense. Let's say
disagree.
Yeah,
I think it will be that.
The opposite.
Ooh, we'll see. Let's see who's right at the end of this. I don't know because I'm as good, but it depends to see what happens.
You're both there doing a primary thing, whether it's taking hold or recover assets or whatever it is. I don't know.
But there's no objectives anymore.
Secondaries that are different.
They're gone.
I know, but there'll still be stuff to do.
Yes.
I don't know. I say it'll be secondaries.
Ooh, I reckon I want to flip it. Yeah. I reckon it'll be primaries.
We'll mark this out. Matt's going secondaries, Connor's going primaries.
I reckon the primary.
Nice. There we go. Talking of objectives, no more circles.
I'm not sure.
Now terrain.
I'm not. I just got some printed as well. I'm not sure.
Oh, right, there we go.
I'm not
I'm
sure on
to see a bit of a pattern here where
what they've
use
said
it as a cup holder. I don't know.
Now this could be quite a bad thing in the whole aspect of the community. In immersion wise, it's really good. I love playing on nicely painted tables. Now, imagine a local hobby shop or local hobby group right now. So now if they're this sounds like it could be a massive terrain change. And that means UKTC are going to have to go on top of this as well. That means what
they're saying with their
changes.
Terrain rules, shake-ups and everything, it looks like they are really trying to bring back more terrain that's not just the L shapes.
If they keep the L shape, but release the objective terrain pieces on top of it, then they could adapt nicely. Obviously, we're all going to have to buy the GW. I imagine Games Workshop will produce these terrain pieces. It'd be nice if they did faction-specific ones as well. So every faction has its own one, and then you can theme it. So that you got a Tau cool relic ones because they're meant to be terrain pieces, aren't they? That are going to be the objectives. Now, I don't mind that as long as it is done correctly. If it's a small piece of terrain with a 3-inch marker around it, it's literally just going to be the circles.
Just the same thing.
But with a pretty looking one. You're literally going to put the terrain piece on top of the circle, and the circle's going to go around it to represent the 3-inch zone from it. So if it's going to be a full L shape, saying that L shape is the terrain, if you're touching that piece of terrain, you have the objective, then that's different.
I reckon they're 100% going to bring out a specific type of model or something for this, just because there's too much opportunity. If you've got like all these tournaments and everyone, you can just sell a small mountain of them. So why not make it an actual terrain, please? Yeah. Because you could do like you say, like landing pads for the Tau or bunkers for Imperial Guard or like spawning pools for
the very important thing is they have to make them all the exact same size.
Yeah,
that's the issue. So they might not do faction specific because it might be issue. They might just do a generic one and then sell it. Obviously, you'll have 3D printers get onto that straight away and they will print it out. So that won't be the issue. But imagine UKTC now, if it is going to have to be a major terrain reshape. I've got a set of UK terrain in the boxes at some Pricades, right?
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I reckon the majority of that box will be fine, but I reckon now there'll be new things added to it now or things taken away. So
I think that's good, though, to add stuff to it. Everyone's been playing on this same stuff now for how long? Like
3 years?
Yeah.
Hey, we added in the lovely squares.
Oh, yeah, the nice squares.
And they did change up the terrain layout halfway through, to be fair. They redid all the deployments and everything halfway through. So they did try and keep it fresh.
But I do just remember, like, battles when I was younger playing, and you would just have, like, insane kit bash terrain that someone's chucked together, like using Coke cans as generators or something, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it just looks fucking awesome. And it does just mean that each battle's a bit different. Like, I am because I've only been playing, like 6 months, 9 months back in it. And even I'm kind of sick of like, oh look, some walls.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so true, and there's so much nice stuff out there, and it's just adds so much more to the
just
game.
be good to get it all back out.
It's just got to be balanced still, because Warhammer is the world's biggest competitive war game. And you need to apply. If you want an immersive board, you have an immersive board, but you need to make sure it's balanced and easily accessible on a large number. Like there's like 500 sets at UKTC now are going to have to change, which is going to be. And everybody else who's got their own setup, because loads of people have their own setups at home as well. That now needs to be changed. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
That and the line of sight stuff. I think they might just keep. I think the terrain sets might just stay the same. They're just going to add the terrain pieces for the objectives. I think it'll just be the objective terrain pieces will change how the board has to be deployed. So you might lose a few L's, but you have that terrain piece in there instead.
Yeah. It'd be quite cool if we could get back stuff like, do you guys remember dangerous terrain and like hazards and stuff like that?
Yes.
Where if you were like moving units through and you rolled a 6 and then like your Terminator trips up and dies. That would be quite fun to get back in cases. That's really cool.
Fall in a big hole.
Yeah. He's not dead. He's just stuck.
You had that with landmines. But if you roll a 6 to advance, you take a mortal wound because you hit a landmine.
Love it. Cool. Other ones. So they mentioned obviously they're pushing for like a much cleaner fight phase.
Yes, I like it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Fight first is gone.
I was quite upset with that. I've got a few little tricks with fight first.
This has been lost in translation. A lot of people have got this wrong. So basically, the only thing that they've changed with fights first, which is very important, right?
Yeah.
If you had a fights first unit that charged another fights first unit, it used to be the defender would fight you first. It makes no sense. So if my Judicia charged your Judicia will fight me first, even though I charged. That's how the fight first mechanic worked. So all they've changed now is if I charge my fight first into your fight first, mine fights first. The charging player.
That was a long fight first.
Yeah. So if your berserkers charge my Judicia, I still get to activate first. That is still there.
Okay.
It used to be the fights first thing was stupid, where my fights first, if I charged, would activate second against your fights first.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Doesn't make any sense.
It's different.
Yes, a lot of people have got it the wrong way around because it was.
Well, no. I was watching a thing today that said that if you charge, regardless if you have fight first, if you're charge phase and you charge, you fight first.
Yes, that's what has been flying around. But I am very if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hand up for spreading misinformation. But I think the main rule is for some reason if my Judicia, if my fights first unit charged your fights first unit, your unit used to fight me first, which didn't make sense. So now it is my fights first unit that charges will always fight first. But there is still place for it because there isn't a huge amount of fight first out there. There's only a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless you're Blood Angels.
Yes, unless you're Blood Angels, of course. All the lion.
Well, how are we feeling about the rolling the charge distance before picking a target?
It's very similar to what we said about the movement bit, but it's without the free movement afterwards, really. So you roll a charge. You don't have to say, I'm going to charge this unit, this unit. However,
I wonder if that's come out of frustrations of people, just because that can be really frustrating, not necessarily fun when you are just
when you want to charge
dice, and if that
I want to charge those 2 units, but that one's an inch further. What if I roll that inch before? Oh shit! But you just say, I'm going to charge, roll the dice. Oh, I've rolled a 12. Let's go the long bomb.
Because it just doesn't make sense of like, say your 20 World Eaters miss your charge. Like in no shape or form would that big unit then just go, oh, we'll just stay here.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll give you a minute. The
only thing they will have to change rule-wise now with this is any units that have -1 to charge if you charge me must have a 12-inch aura on that now. That is my only caveat. Because if you're saying, I've got a 12-inch charge, I'm going to charge this unit. I could charge this. I could charge these 3 units, and one of them is a -1 to the charge. When does that apply? It will get very hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it would have to be a unit that has a -1 to charge. I reckon should have a 12-inch aura around it of -1 to charge. Maybe that's a bit too powerful. I don't know, but there is units out there with -1s to charge and stuff like that. And like my Tau has a Kion stratagem. When this unit gets declared a charge against, -2 inch throw a photon grenade, do a battle shock test, and -2 inches to your charge. So now, when do I declare that? After you rolled or before you roll? It does because, like you said, those detachments aren't changing, which means that stratagem's not changing, because that's in my core rule book. So if you're going to change that, you need to then reiterate how the -1 to charge rules then affect. I think maybe I'm being too overcomplicated, but that will come up. That will come up because Pathfinders have an inbuilt -1 to charge or -2 to charge. Sorry, from one of the drones if you want to bring it. So it all depends. Unless you calculate that in on the charge roll, maybe. So, all right, I bought an 8. I only needed a 6, but the -2 to charge, I've still got it. I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting one, I think. What about, combat disembark? So, bearing in mind, like, who I play, I'm very not used to playing with sort of transports, but from what I could gather, this is quite a massive difference.
And I think it makes sense. I mean, if you get, a tank and get charged, you're not going to just sit inside and just wait for it to explode. You're going to disembark and get stuck in. So I think
seeing a sword like come through the side of the tank, you're like,
you're going to be peeking at the hole. You're like, oh no, we're getting charged.
It's going to be really good. It's going to make transports very strong, and then this next edition.
Yes.
Stop like small groups of units being able to just tag them into doing fuck all as well. Basically,
it's not the tag that's the issue. It's to stop the circling that James was on about that he hates.
Yes, so you can't disembark.
You can't now circle. The minute that charge is hit, you just get out. You are battle shocked and you are prone to getting tagged up afterwards if you kill the transport. But I don't know.
Is it
an option to disembark if you want, or do you have to?
It is. I think it's optional.
If it's optional, it's fantastic.
You have the choice.
Because I'd like to say Northern Hemisphere charges, and then you can just get back. Because it's only the one unit, you could probably get far enough away. If 20 boys charge you, it might be a bit more difficult, because you're obviously going to get tagged back into it.
Cool. So from watching what I've watched, I picked up those as basically being like the key sort of major changes, which we've seen floating around. Any others that you guys have come across so far? Obviously, I think it's been live for like a couple of hours now.
Yeah. Your codex will be safe for the next edition until your new codex comes out. Very important. No, the great indexing will not be happening like I said it wouldn't. That'll be 12th edition.
Connor, you have smashed the predictions. I think from our predictions episode, you were like, the next edition is going to launch. It's going to launch with Space Marines and Orcs. This, that, and the other's going to happen.
Necrons.
Yeah, no fucking Necrons.
It wouldn't be fucking Necrons.
You were.
So the new box artwork is beautiful. It's such a throwback to second edition. It's so nice.
Yeah, it really feels like it, actually. I like that.
So it's going to be a great box set as well. It's going to be a great box set.
I already know I'm just going to end up buying it. I think most of us probably will, I imagine, with that.
The new sister box the new sister stuff looks nice as well, to be fair. They brought that in there out of nowhere. It's going to be.
I always gloss over the sister stuff. I need to start giving it more look.
The good thing is now, with the fact that it's not being indexed, means they can't touch a lot of the core rules, which means your sustained hits isn't going anywhere. Your lethal hits, your precision, your data sheet rules like ignoring cover or stuff like that. Maybe the ignoring cover might change. Ignoring hit modifiers, a lot of the stuff that your data sheets already have, you don't have to worry about relearning that. All you're having to learn now is any changes to the way the game plays, not the way your army plays, which is very good.
Yeah.
And so obviously, until you get your new codex, then that goes completely bonkers. Like, but there we go. I imagine Space Marines are going to get like 20 detach. The thing is, it's going to be a lot harder to know what your enemy's going to be doing, because if somebody look, Connor's playing Tower, he's going to play Montcar, I know what it does. All right, but now,
I think you said the beginning of 10th edition was your favourite time, when everyone was just trying to figure out what we're actually playing with here, like what's going on, what can that do, what can that not do. I think we've got a good couple of months ahead of us. Although they haven't released an actual date yet, have they? I heard someone saying sort of like June.
It will be June. I reckon mid to late June. Yes, mid to late June or end of May. End of May.
End of May.
But I reckon it could be mid June. I reckon a couple of months. They said they're going to release it over the next couple of months, and that does mean June by the sound of it.
Yeah.
Just in time for the WTC tournaments as well. So, brand new edition, new tournaments. It's going to be interesting.
That'll be
wild
chaos, I imagine. But yeah, quite fun.
The thing is, the armies won't change really. It'll just be the way it's like your movement stuff won't change. Like your profiles won't change. Your weapon profiles won't change, which is good. It means all the stuff you've remembered, like I know what my Tau guns do or my movement, that won't change. So you won't have to learn your army again. You'll have to just learn the new rules and the new detachments. Obviously, that will come out with it.
Nice. Wicked. I think we've sort of covered that. Our initial reactions to Warhammer 40k 11th edition. Always quite interesting to see how many of our guesses here are actually accurate when it does all come out in June, or it just gets completely changed. But I think, I'm quite excited about all those changes. I think it's really positive.
If they can really nail down the balance between narrative and competitive, this is going to be a home run. Yeah. This is what I think the game needs is a bit more flavour. Yeah, we're always seeing that with the school stuff. It's awesome.
It's going to bring back the flavour in the game a bit. Like the list building aspect that was lost a lot in 10th is going to come back. Like there's rumours. Sorry, the one thing we missed is the Force Organisation chart might be coming back. They haven't said that
I
yet.
saw someone mention that.
Oh, we missed one last thing.
Mentioned it the other day.
We missed one last thing affecting the rules that we have now. At the moment, if you have a leader in a unit, that you will have to declare that in the list building step now, not on the table. You used to, and because of that, you used to have it while this unit is leading a unit, you get this. Not anymore. If your bodyguard dies, you still have the bonus. You still get the bonus anyways, which means my Cold Star commander, if its bodyguard's dead, can still re-roll its wound rolls into tanks, which is fantastic. You know, I'm really happy.
What I was wondering then was that, because if you've got a bodyguard unit and they all die, he just becomes a character on his own. But I wonder if then he'll be forced to take the battle shock test because his unit's dead and he's now part of that unit. The unit is below half strength.
I think they'll class it the same as it was at the moment, where the minute the bodyguard is dead, he is a separate unit. But just because his bodyguard is dead, he will not forget how to do what he's been doing the whole game. So as long as he was attached to the unit at the start, I think he will gain the benefits of what he was doing when he was leading and the benefits of the unit he was with. We have to wait for iteration because this is massive. Like, does he count for 2 for no prisoners still when you kill both? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mark for death, you have to kill both. You know, that sort of stuff. Like, there's a lot of explaining to do, and I assume we'll get all that. But I really like the idea that the leader, if he's on his own now after the unit is dead, he will still be able to do what he's been doing the whole game. He won't just forget. Like, Gazgul can still get +1 to hit. Just because the boy next to him's dead doesn't mean he should forget how to have +1 to hit.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
He's been doing this a while.
Farsight will still be +1 to wound on his own, which is very, very important. I quite like that. So, there we go.
Wicked. All right then, guys. I think that was our coverage of the 11th edition preview.
Woo!
Thank you very much for jumping on in this impromptu episode. Matt, do you want to tell us where people can find you?
Yeah, you'll find me on Instagram on old.varg.
Nice. And Connor?
You can find me also on Instagram at Collins Cadre Command for all the sweaty towel stuff that you all enjoy or hate.
Sweaty towel stuff. Amazing description. And you can find me on Grimdad on TikTok. Mostly podcast content. Wicked. All right, guys. Thanks for jumping on, and we will speak to you all very, very soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Rogue transmission ending.